years in. And we're all camped out on that beach. Bad enough, only now it's night. And men are suddenly getting very sick. One minute, they're polishing their boots, the next, they're choking on black blood. Down the beach, there's a massive fire burning. And the fire is not wood, it's corpses. They're burning the corpses of men and mules and dogs. What is going on? I'll tell you. We've angered the gods. Agamemnon, our leader, our commander, has taken as the spoils of war this girl, gorgeous, 15 years old, and she happens to be the daughter of a priest of Apollo. The old man comes to Agamemnon, cart piled high. Please, take these gifts, this ransom, just give me back my daughter. Agamemnon says no. The priest offers to pray for the Greeks if only he'll give him his daughter back. Agamemnon says no. All the Greek commanders come to Agamemnon and they beg him to give the girl back. Agamemnon says no. The priest is heartsick. He goes to Apollo, and Apollo gets mad. Have you ever seen an angry god? Apollo takes these arrows, and he covers the tips in sickness, in plague, nasty stuff. The arrows clanged at his back as the god quaked with rage. Over against the ships, he dropped to a knee, let fly a shaft, and a terrifying clash rang out from the great silver bow. Ton! 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 Infection, disease, death. There's only one way to stop the plague. Agamemnon has got to give the girl back. I won't give up the girl. So the Greeks call a grand assembly. All the tribes, all the factions, all the warriors gather, and the meeting grounds shook, everybody buzzing, like bees, you know, and they're angry and frightened and sick of the plague, and Agamemnon sweeps in. And suddenly, a huge figure rises in the back. Ah, this is our man, Achilles. In the middle of all this misery, there is this one genius. Achilles is the greatest warrior that ever lived. Bigger than Hercules, bigger than Sinbad, bigger than... Well, who's the greatest warrior living now? And it's not just that he's good at killing, it's that he's good at the art of war. Patroclus crowded corpse on the earth that rears us all. And then, in the middle of it all, impossibly, like I have never quite understood what happened, his helmet falls off, and some of his armor falls off, and he's suddenly shoved to the ground like a massive force hit him. Something hit him. His helmet didn't fit anyway. The armor didn't fit anyway. I mean, like, to even put it on, he had to stuff rags in his head and rags in his chest just to keep the thing on. It's not his armor, it's Achilles' armor. Achilles has like 400 pounds on him, or whatever it is, and so Patroclus, you know, after all the struggling, has lost his helmet, he's lost his armor, and at the time, you know what some people said? Was that Apollo knocked it off him. Apollo was on Hector's side, and that Apollo went like this. Came up behind him, and just went with his little finger, and his helmet, and Apollo kind of went, and the straps broke on his breastplate, and it fell off. And so Patroclus stands up and goes totally exposed. That's how it happens. We think of ourselves, not me. I'm not like that. I'm a peaceful, but it happens anyway. Some trick in our blood and rage. Do you see? A black cloud of grief came shrouding over Achilles. Overpowered in all his power, sprawled in the dust, Achilles suddenly loosed a terrible, wrenching cry, and his noble mother heard him. Here's what Achilles says to his mother. He's dead. And I sent him out there. It should have been me. It just bounced the light back, shot it way out like that. Surging over the plain, blazing like a star, and I don't have to tell you, do I? The tide has turned, of course, because Achilles is back in the battle. The Greeks are winning, raging, driving the Trojans back inside their own walls, but there stood Hector, shackled fast by his deadly fate, holding his ground, exposed in front of Troy and the Scaean gate. This is what he looks like, and this is what he's thinking. No way out! Boy and a girl might whisper to each other. Better to clash in battle now. At once! So he wavered, waiting there. But Achilles was closing on him now, like the god of war. The fighter's helmet flashing over his right shoulder, shaking the Pelian ash spear, that terror. And the bronze around his body flared like a raging fire, or the rising, blazing sun. Hector looked up, saw him, started to tremble. Nerve gone, he could hold his ground no longer. He left the gates behind, and away he fled in fear. So Achilles flew at him, breakneck on in fury, with Hector fleeing along the walls of Troy, fast as his legs would go. On and on they raced, passing the lookout point, passing the wild fig tree tossed by the wind, always out from under the ramparts. Down the wagon trail they careered, until they reached the clear-running springs where whirling Scamander rises up from its double well springs, bubbling strong. Past these they raced, one escaping, one in pursuit, and the one who fled was great. But the one pursuing greater, even greater, their pace mounting in speed like a pair of powerful stallions. So the two of them whirled 3 times around the city of Priam, sprinting at top speed, and Hector could never throw Achilles off his trail. The swift racer, Achilles, time and again, he'd make a dash for the Dardan gates, hoping men on the heights might save him somehow, raining spears. But time and again, Achilles would intercept him quickly, heading him off, forcing him out across the plain, and always sprinting along the city side himself. Endless, as in a dream, when one man can't catch another fleeing on ahead, and he can never escape, nor his rival overtake him. So the one could never run the other down in his speed, nor the other spring away. Someday, you'll wear a helmet just like that. Someday, you'll be an even greater soldier than your father. You'll ride a big horse, dark one, just like mine. You'll fly on that horse through the air. You'll come home wearing the bloody gear of the mortal enemy you've killed in battle. That's enough. Well, let me die, but not without struggle, not without glory. No, in some great clash of arms that even men to come will hear of down the years. And on that resolve, Hector swooped now, swinging his whetted sword, and Achilles charged too, bursting with rage, barbaric, and fire flared from the sharp point of the spear Achilles brandished high in his right hand, bent on Hector's death, scanning his splendid body where to pierce it best. The rest of his flesh seemed all encased in armor, burnished, brazen Achilles' armor that Hector stripped from strong Patroclus when he killed him. That's right. Hector is wearing Achilles' armor, my God. And so there's Achilles, spear in hand, and he's looking at himself in a way, at an image of himself, and he's looking for a weak spot. And he knows exactly where that is, because it's his armor. One spot lay exposed, where the collarbone lifts the neck bone off the shoulders. The open throat, where the end of life comes quickest. There, as Hector charged in fury, brilliant Achilles drove his spear, and the point went stabbing clean through the tender neck. Hector crashed in the dust. I wish I could show you a photograph of Troy, but here's what it was like. Walk through the Scaean gates, and the first thing you'll see is a great plaza. A great plaza with a fountain. There's water everywhere, little waterfalls, little pools. Every house has its own pool. And you can hear the sound of water flowing all the time. And that water is a form of music. And that music mingles with real music. Flutes and lyres and singing. And then, as you walk through, you begin to see how every house is both private and public. So every house has its own private area, and yet it spills into a common area. So as you walk through the city of Troy, you see everybody, and everybody sees you. They'll often have events. They like to have their concerts, they have public meetings, they have all kinds of performances, and there's a great sense of civic duty. So they'll get together to discuss things like, what do we do about the fig tree that's dying? How do we save the fig tree? And they'll have a committee to talk about the fig tree. And respect for the family, of course. The royal family. Priam and his sons. They've actually brought Troy peace. They've actually fought off invasions. They've actually given them a life that's stable. So what you feel when you walk into Troy is a great sense of calm and a great sense of serenity. Oh, Hector, why are you just staring at us? Can't you speak? Is the war over? No. It's a bad day for us. I've come home to start the prayers. Oh, do you see? But this is the battle I want to tell you about now, because the women of Troy prayed. And those prayers seem to work. And the Trojans begin to fight like never before. And still no one wins. And that begins to take its toll on the Greeks. This is what the war looks like. At last, the armies clashed at one strategic point. They slammed their shields together, pike scraped pike with the grappling strength of fighters, armed in bronze, and their round shields pounded boss on welded boss. The sound of struggle roared and rocked the earth. Screams of men and cries of triumph breaking together in one breath. Fighters killing, fighters killed, and the ground streamed blood wildly as two winter torrents raging down from the mountains, swirling into a valley, hurl their great waters together, plunging down in a gorge, and miles away in the hills the shepherd hears the thunder. So from the grinding armies came the cries and crash of war. And terror and rout and relentless strife stormed too. Sister of manslaughtering Ares, Ares comrade in arms and strife. Such a little thing when she first rears her head, but her head soon hits the sky as she strides across the earth. Now strife hurled down the leveler, hate amidst both sides, wading into the onslaught, flooding men with pain. And you could see the charred metal, and you could see the smoking thing, and you could see the airbag, and you hope the airbag smothers him. But if it doesn't, you'll get out, and you'll go, "You fucking idiot! Why the fuck did you cut me off?" Ah! Glint of a spear tore his opponent's chest, stabbed his right jawbone, ramming the spearhead square between his teeth so hard. Hoisted, dragged the Trojan fury, bursting his heart, mouth gaping, flipped him down, face first, dead as he fell. Lunging in, he flung a rock, struck between his eyes, crushed both brows, the skull caved in, and both eyes burst from their sockets. Nothing can hurt Patroclus now. He's a killing machine, my God. Patroclus, like something superhuman. Patroclus and his men, hungry as wolves that rend and bolt raw flesh. Hearts filled with battle frenzy that never dies. They gorge on the kill till all their jaws drip red with blood, belching bloody meat, but the fury, never shaken, builds inside their chest, though their glutted bellies burst. It's a blur of kills. Poured another, hammered another, splintered, sinews shredded, bronze ripping split the belly, razor slicing another, cutting away the tongue. One guy cracked through the bony socket, then wrenched the whole arm out, impaled. More, ripped, more, stabbed, more, chopped, snapped, hewed, smashed, hacked. Whole earth ran hot with blood, 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 and red death, and it feels good. Imagine it for yourselves. The destruction of the city, civilization. You know what that's like Like Alexandria. All that history gone! Like Constantinople burning for weeks, like the Aztec temples razed, like Dresden. Hiroshima, like Sarajevo, like Kabul, like Hong.